Taurus, I need you to sit down for this because what I am seeing in the energy right now is absolutely wild. And honestly, I did not expect this level of intensity when I pulled these cards for you. Someone in your life is literally on their knees right now, begging another person to keep their mouth shut about something that could destroy everything they have built with you. And I am not talking about some small secret here, Taurus. This is massive. This is life-altering. This is the kind of truth that when it comes out, and it will come out, everything changes. Let me tell you something that happened just yesterday with another Taurus who came to me for a reading. She said she had this weird feeling in her gut for weeks, could not shake it, kept dismissing it as paranoia. Then boom, she found out her partner had been hiding an entire financial disaster from her, begging his brother not to tell her that he lost their savings in some risky investment. That feeling she had, that was the universe screaming at her. And right now, Taurus, if you have been feeling that same nagging sensation, that same unexplainable discomfort, your intuition is screaming at you for a reason. Here is what nobody tells you about secrets, and the timeline is insane. When someone is desperate enough to beg others for silence, when they have hit rock bottom so hard that they are willing to humiliate themselves just to keep you in the dark, that desperation creates energetic cracks everywhere. And those cracks, they are already forming right now. Within the next cycle, everything they have been hiding is going to surface, whether they want it to or not. I have seen this pattern play out 17 times in the last month alone with different people, different situations, but the same energy signature, and every single time, the truth came out faster than anyone expected. But here is what shocked me when I connected with your energy, specifically Taurus. Let me pull the first card because I need to show you something that is completely unexpected about this situation. The first card that literally jumped out of the deck, and I mean physically jumped, is the Hermit. And I know what you are thinking, wait, that does not sound dramatic enough for this situation, right? Wrong. This is where everyone gets the Hermit completely twisted. The Hermit here is not about you going into isolation. This is about the truth living in isolation right now. Someone has taken this massive secret and buried it so deep, locked it away in such darkness that they thought it would never see the light of day. But here is what makes this absolutely fascinating and kind of terrifying. The Hermit carries a lantern, Taurus. He is the light in the darkness, which means this card is telling us that the truth is already illuminating itself from within its hiding place. Think about this for a second. When something is hidden in complete darkness and you introduce even the tiniest flame, what happens? That flame becomes impossible to ignore. It draws every eye. It exposes every corner. It makes the darkness irrelevant. That is what is happening right now. This person thought they could keep this secret buried forever, but the secret itself has become so big, so energetically charged, so desperate to be revealed that it is creating its own light. They are literally begging someone not to tell you, which means the secret has already moved from being contained by one person to being known by multiple people, and every person who knows is another flame in that darkness. The Hermit is also about wisdom gained through solitude and introspection, and here is where this gets deep. This card is showing me that you, Taurus, have been on your own journey of self-discovery recently. Maybe you have been spending more time alone, questioning things, reassessing your life and relationships, looking at patterns you previously ignored. And what is absolutely wild about the timing is that your increasing wisdom and clarity is exactly what this person fears most. They could keep this secret when you were not paying as much attention, when you were more trusting, when you were not asking the hard questions. But now you are becoming the Hermit yourself, shining your own light into places you never looked before. And they are terrified because they know you are going to find what they have been hiding. Let me tell you what the Hermit energy feels like in a situation like this. You know when you are in a dark room and your eyes slowly adjust and you start seeing shapes you could not see before? That is where you are right now, Taurus. Every day your vision is getting clearer, your intuition is getting sharper, and things that seemed normal 2 months ago now feel off to you. You might have been dismissing these feelings, telling yourself you are being paranoid or overthinking. But the Hermit is confirming that no, you are not crazy. You are waking up to what has always been there. And here's what makes me almost angry on your behalf. While you have been doing this deep internal work, this beautiful soul-searching journey, becoming more authentic and aligned with your truth, this person has been using that same time to dig themselves deeper into deception. They have been watching you grow and evolve, and instead of being inspired to do the same, they have been calculating how to keep you from discovering their lies. The audacity, Taurus, the absolute audacity. But the Hermit also brings a message of profound wisdom for you specifically, and this is important. This situation, as painful and shocking as it is going to be when everything comes to light, is actually pushing you toward a level of discernment, an inner knowing that you have never accessed before. You are being initiated into a deeper level of consciousness, a place where you trust your intuition first and explanation second, where you value energetic truth over convenient narratives. This person's betrayal and desperation is inadvertently becoming your greatest teacher, showing you exactly what you will never tolerate again, exactly what red flags look like, exactly how deception feels energetically, even when it looks fine on the surface. I am seeing that this person, who is begging for silence, who has hit rock bottom, they are in complete hermit mode too, but in the most toxic way possible. They have isolated themselves with their shame, their fear, their desperation. They are alone with the weight of what they have done, and instead of using that solitude for growth and confession, like the Hermit's highest expression, they are using it to plot and scheme and beg and manipulate. They are experiencing the shadow side of the Hermit energy, the fear-based isolation, the hoarding of truth, the belief that staying hidden is safer than facing the light. What I need you to understand, Taurus, is that the Hermit appearing first is showing us that the foundation of this entire situation is about hidden truth versus revealed truth, darkness versus light, isolation versus illumination. Everything that unfolds from here, every card we pull, every layer we uncover, it all comes back to this central theme. Someone chose darkness and is fighting desperately to stay there, while you are moving toward the light, whether you consciously realize it or not, and these two energies are on a collision course that cannot be stopped. Now let me go deeper into what this person has actually lost, because the Hermit is also showing me something about their current state that is honestly pathetic when you really look at it. They have lost their inner light, Taurus. Whatever they did, whatever they are hiding, it has extinguished something fundamental in their soul. They are walking around like a shell, going through the motions, pretending everything is fine, but internally, they are hollow. And you might have felt this if you have been around them recently, like talking to them feels empty, like there is no real connection anymore, like they are performing a role rather than being authentic. That is because they are performing. Every single interaction is a calculated act designed to keep you from seeing the truth. The begging, the pleading with someone else not to tell you, that is the most desperate act of someone who has completely lost touch with their own integrity. Think about what it takes to get on your knees metaphorically, or maybe even literally, and beg another person to help you maintain a lie. That is not the behavior of someone who has any self-respect left. That is not the behavior of someone who values truth or honor. That is the behavior of someone who has sacrificed everything, including their own dignity, to avoid facing consequences. And consequences are coming, Taurus. Make no mistake about that. The Hermit's lantern is already lit. The truth is already glowing in the dark, and no amount of begging or pleading or manipulating is going to keep that light contained much longer. I am seeing a timeline here that is fast, much faster than this person thinks. They believe they have bought themselves time by convincing someone to stay quiet, but what they do not realize is that secrets this big have their own momentum, their own timeline, their own energy that demands to be released. Let me pull another card because I need to show you who this person is that they are begging, what role this third party plays in all of this. And this is where it gets really interesting. Oh, wow. Okay, so the second card is the King of Swords, and this is perfect because this tells us so much about the person who knows the truth, the person being begged for silence. The King of Swords is all about truth, justice, clarity, intellectual integrity, and cutting through lies. This is someone who values honesty above almost everything else, someone who has a strong moral compass, someone who is not easily manipulated or swayed by emotional appeals. And that is exactly why the person hiding this secret is so desperate to keep the King of Swords quiet, because they know this is someone who is fundamentally opposed to deception. Can you see how perfect this is? The universe did not let this secret be known by someone weak, someone easily controlled, someone who would happily participate in the lie. No. The universe made sure this truth landed in the hands of someone with integrity, someone who is probably struggling internally right now with what they know, someone who is weighing their loyalty to the person begging them against their respect for you and their own values around truth. The King of Swords does not make emotional decisions. Taurus, they make logical ones, and logically, keeping a massive secret that affects your life is not the right choice, and they know this. Here is what I am seeing about this dynamic. The person with the secret is using every manipulation tactic they have. They are probably playing on sympathy. Maybe they are saying things like, if Taurus finds out, it will destroy them, or I will lose everything, or please just give me time to figure out how to tell them myself. They are framing their desperation as care for you, as protection, as a desire to handle things the right way. But the King of Swords sees right through this. The King of Swords knows that protecting someone from truth is not actually protection. It is disrespect disguised as care. It is control disguised as love. What is making this even more intense is that the King of Swords energy is active right now, which means this person is not just passively sitting on this information. They are thinking about it constantly, analyzing the situation from every angle, probably losing sleep over what the right thing to do is, weighing the consequences of speaking up versus staying silent. And the more time passes, the more their conscience is going to push them toward revelation, because that is just how King of Swords energy works. They cannot live comfortably with lies. It goes against their fundamental nature. I am also seeing that this King of Swords person might have their own relationship with you, Taurus. Maybe not super close, but there is respect there. Maybe they have always thought you deserved better. Maybe they have noticed things about this situation that made them uncomfortable even before they knew the full truth. And now that they do know, they are looking at you with this mix of sympathy and frustration because they can see you are being played and their sense of justice is screaming at them to intervene. But here is where human psychology gets complicated. The King of Swords is also dealing with the very real social consequences of being the messenger. They know that if they tell you the truth, they become entangled in the drama, they might be blamed for destroying a relationship or causing pain. They might lose their connection to the person whose secret they are revealing. They are calculating all of this, running through scenarios, trying to figure out the path of least damage. But what they are slowly realizing, what the energy is showing me they are coming to realize, is that there is no path of least damage at this point. The damage is already done by the person who created this mess in the first place, and silence only compounds that damage. The King of Swords also represents someone who is probably older or more experienced or in a position of some authority or respect. This is not some random person. This is someone whose opinion matters, someone whose judgment carries weight, which means when they do decide to speak, and I am seeing that they will, it is going to hit with massive credibility. You are not going to be able to dismiss what they tell you as gossip or drama or misunderstanding, because the source is too solid, too credible, too grounded in logic and fact. What absolutely fascinates me about these two cards together, the Hermit and the King of Swords, is that they are both showing us this theme of clarity emerging from darkness, truth cutting through lies, light penetrating shadow. These are not emotional cards, Taurus. These are mental and spiritual cards, which tells me this situation is going to be resolved not through drama and confrontation, but through inevitable revelation. The truth is going to come out not because someone gets caught red-handed, but because it becomes impossible to contain any longer, because the weight of it becomes unbearable, because the universe has decided that enough is enough. And I need you to prepare yourself for this, because when the King of Swords decides to speak, they are not going to sugarcoat anything. They are going to lay out the facts clearly, logically, probably with receipts and evidence and a timeline that makes everything undeniable. This person is not going to tell you partial truth or protect anyone's feelings. They are going to give you everything, because that is how King of Swords operates. Once they decide the right thing to do is full disclosure. They go all in on full disclosure. Now I am hearing Spirit say something really important about your role in all of this, and I need to share this. You might be tempted when the truth comes out to shoot the messenger, to be angry at the King of Swords for not telling you sooner, for waiting, for keeping silent, even temporarily. But the message I am getting is that their timing, as frustrating as it might seem, is actually perfect, because it is giving you time to strengthen yourself energetically, to develop the clarity and wisdom of your own hermit energy, so that when the truth hits, you are ready to handle it with grace and power rather than being completely destroyed by it. If this had all come out 2 months ago, when you were not as aware, not as introspective, not as connected to your own inner knowing, it would have devastated you in a way that might have taken years to recover from. But now, with this hermit energy building in you, with your intuition getting sharper every day, with your tolerance for deception getting lower and your standards getting higher, you are becoming someone who can handle this revelation, who can use it as fuel for transformation rather than being crushed by it. Let me pull the next card, because we need to see what this person has actually lost, what rock bottom actually looks like for them, and why they are so desperate to keep you from knowing. This is crucial information. The third card coming through, and honestly, I had to catch my breath when I saw this, is the Five of Pentacles and oh my God, Taurus. This is exactly what I suspected, but seeing it confirmed is wild. This person has lost everything: material, financial, stability-wise, security-wise, everything. The Five of Pentacles shows someone literally out in the cold, broke, abandoned, desperate, experiencing severe lack and hardship. This is not just about losing some money, Taurus. This is about complete financial ruin. This is about losing their sense of security, their ability to provide, their material foundation. Now here is where this gets really interesting and kind of infuriating. Remember how I said this reading is about someone begging on their knees not to tell you something? The Five of Pentacles is showing me that what they are hiding is directly related to financial devastation that affects you too. This could be shared money that is gone, shared investments that failed, shared debts that have spiraled, shared resources that have been mismanaged or stolen or gambled away or lost through sheer stupidity. They have hit rock bottom financially, and instead of coming to you immediately and being honest about it, they have been hiding it, trying to figure out how to fix it before you notice, lying about bank accounts or bills or income or expenses. The desperation of the Five of Pentacles is visceral, Taurus. This is someone who is lying awake at night panicking about money, someone who is juggling creditors, someone who might be facing foreclosure or repossession or bankruptcy, someone who has gone from comfortable to crisis mode and has been maintaining a facade of normalcy while internally drowning. And what makes this even more twisted is that they have been letting you continue thinking everything is fine. Maybe even letting you make financial decisions based on false information. Maybe even continuing to take from you financially while hiding the fact that there is a massive hole they are trying to fill. The begging makes so much sense now. They are on their knees to whoever knows about this financial disaster, begging them not to tell you because they know that once you find out, it is over. Not just the relationship potentially, but their access to any resources you might have shared, their ability to lean on you, their whole carefully constructed house of cards. They are not begging out of remorse, Taurus. They are begging out of terror at losing their last lifeline, which appears to be you. Here is what the Five of Pentacles is showing me about the depth of this loss. This is not surface level. This did not happen overnight. This has been building for a while. They made bad decisions, probably multiple bad decisions, possibly hid those decisions, then made more bad decisions trying to cover up the first bad decisions. And now they are in a hole so deep they cannot see daylight. And instead of asking for help when the problem was manageable, instead of being honest when they first started struggling, they chose deception. They chose ego. They chose to protect their image at the cost of your trust and possibly your financial well-being. What absolutely enrages me on your behalf is the selfishness of this. The Five of Pentacles can also represent feeling emotionally and spiritually impoverished, feeling abandoned and alone, but in this case, they have chosen that isolation by refusing to be vulnerable and honest. They could have come to you at any point and said, look, I made a mistake, I need help, I am struggling, and depending on your relationship, you might have worked through it together. But instead, they decided you were not worthy of the truth. They decided protecting their ego was more important than your right to know what affects your life. They decided to make unilateral choices about shared circumstances. The Five of Pentacles also shows me something about their current mental and emotional state that honestly almost makes me feel sorry for them, except I remember they brought this on themselves. They are broken right now, Taurus, absolutely shattered, walking around like a hollow shell, as I mentioned earlier. They have lost their sense of self-worth, their confidence, their hope. They probably look tired all the time. Maybe weight has changed. Maybe they are withdrawing socially. Maybe they are irritable or distant or overcompensating with fake cheerfulness. The stress of maintaining this lie while dealing with the reality of their situation is destroying them from the inside out. But here's what you need to understand, and this is critical. Their rock bottom is not your responsibility to fix. Their financial disaster is not your burden to carry. Their choices that led to this Five of Pentacles energy are not yours to rescue them from. I am seeing that this person might try, when the truth comes out, to make you feel guilty, to play on your compassion, to frame their confession as a cry for help that requires you to save them. Do not fall for this. The Five of Pentacles teaches us about learning lessons through hardship, about the consequences of our choices, about rebuilding from nothing with integrity this time. If you rescue them from their rock bottom, you rob them of the very lesson they need to learn, and you entangle yourself in a disaster that was not yours to begin with. I also need to point out something about the timing of this Five of Pentacles appearing in your reading right now. In tarot, the Five of Pentacles often comes up right before a breakthrough, right before help arrives, right before the worst is over, which means this person is at the absolute lowest point right now, and they are probably clinging to the hope that they can somehow hide this just a little longer, somehow fix it before you find out, somehow avoid the reckoning that is coming. But that is not how energy works, Taurus. You cannot heal what you refuse to reveal. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. And you cannot move forward while dragging the weight of massive lies behind you. The person with the King of Swords energy who knows about this, they are probably watching this Five of Pentacles situation get worse and worse. And their concern is not just about you being deceived anymore. It is also about the very real practical consequences that could affect your finances if this continues. They might know that there are debts in both names, or that your credit could be affected, or that assets you think you have are actually gone or at risk. Their urgency to tell you the truth is not just moral anymore, it is practical, because every day you remain in the dark is another day you cannot protect yourself, cannot make informed decisions, cannot take action to minimize damage to your own financial situation. Let me tell you what happens next with this Five of Pentacles energy, because the cards are showing me a split in the timeline and you need to understand both paths. Path one is if they continue to hide this and you find out later, possibly too late to protect yourself fully from the fallout. In that timeline, you are dealing not just with betrayal, but with consequences you could have avoided if you had known sooner. Path two is if the truth comes out soon, in the next few weeks, through the King of Swords or through the universe just blowing this thing wide open through circumstances beyond anyone's control. In that timeline, You have the power to take immediate action, protect what is yours, separate your finances and resources, and walk away from their disaster without being pulled into it. Can you see why the timing of this revelation is so crucial? Can you see why your intuition has been screaming at you to pay attention? The universe is trying to wake you up fast, so you can move into timeline 2 instead of timeline 1. Every weird feeling you have had, every moment of doubt, every time something felt off, that was your higher self trying to get your attention, trying to prepare you, trying to push you to ask questions and look closer before it is too late to protect yourself. Now here is where I need to talk about something that might be uncomfortable, but is necessary. The Five of Pentacles is also about pride and shame, about not wanting to admit failure, about not wanting others to see us struggling. And I am seeing that this person's entire identity might be wrapped up in being successful, being stable, being the provider or the responsible one, or the one with their life together. Which means admitting this financial disaster is not just admitting they made mistakes. It is admitting that their whole self-image was fake, that they are not who they pretended to be, that they have been performing a role they could not sustain. This is why the begging is so desperate, Taurus. They are not just trying to hide facts. They are trying to hide the truth of who they are. They are trying to maintain an illusion that has already shattered. They are trying to control your perception of them, because if you see them clearly, if you see them as they actually are right now, broke, desperate, dishonest, weak, they know they will lose you. And they might be right about that, because you, as a Taurus, value stability above almost everything else, and someone who has destroyed their own stability through lies and bad choices is fundamentally incompatible with what you need in your life. Let me pull another card, because I need to see what your path forward looks like, what this situation is actually here to teach you, how you are meant to transform through this revelation. This is where we shift from what they are experiencing to what you are meant to learn and become through this incredibly painful but ultimately liberating experience. The fourth card is the Eight of Swords reversed and Holy Moment, Taurus. This is everything. The Eight of Swords upright is about feeling trapped, blind, helpless, stuck in a situation where you cannot see a way out. But reversed? This is about removing the blindfold, cutting through the ropes, seeing clearly for the first time, freeing yourself from mental prisons and illusions. This card is telling us that you have been in an energetic prison, trapped by lies you did not even know existed, blindfolded by someone else's deception, tied up by your own trust and their manipulation. But all of that is about to end. The Eight of Swords reversed is one of the most liberating cards in the entire tarot deck. It represents the moment when you suddenly see what has been right in front of you all along, when the fog clears, when the illusions shatter, when you reclaim your mental clarity and personal power. Everything you have been sensing, all those weird feelings, all that intuition, all those moments of this does not add up. You are about to have validation for all of it. You are about to remove the blindfold and see exactly what has been happening while you were kept in the dark. What I love about this card appearing here is that it confirms you are not going to be destroyed by this revelation. Yes, it is going to hurt. Yes, it is going to be shocking. Yes, you are going to be angry and hurt, and probably go through a whole range of intense emotions. But ultimately, this truth coming out is your liberation, not your destruction. You are being freed from a situation that was never as good as it appeared, from a person who was never as trustworthy as you believed, from a dynamic that was built on lies, and therefore could never truly serve your highest good. The Eight of Swords reversed is also about mental freedom. You have probably been second-guessing yourself so much lately, Taurus, wondering if you are paranoid, wondering if you are imagining things, wondering if you are being unfair or suspicious for no reason. This card is telling you no more of that. Once the truth comes out, once you have concrete proof of what you have been sensing, you are going to trust your intuition at a level you never have before. You are going to know in your bones that when something feels off, it is off, that your gut is not lying to you, that your instincts are worthy of being honored even when you do not have logical proof yet. I am also seeing that the Eight of Swords reversed represents specifically breaking free from situations where other people have controlled the narrative, where you have been operating with incomplete or false information, where you have made choices based on lies presented as truth. Think about how empowering it is going to be to finally know the real story, to finally have all the information, to finally be able to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than confusion. Even though the information itself is painful, the clarity is going to feel like breathing fresh air after being trapped in a stuffy room for months or years. Here is something really profound that Spirit is showing me about the Eight of Swords reversed in your situation specifically. This card often appears when we have been complicit in our own imprisonment, when we have chosen to ignore red flags or have been too trusting or have given our power away to others. And I think there is going to be a moment, probably after the initial shock and anger, where you look back and realize there were signs, there were moments when you could have pushed harder for truth, there were times when you chose to believe convenient lies rather than deal with uncomfortable reality. But here is what is so important, Taurus. That recognition is not about blaming yourself. It is about reclaiming your power. It is about saying, okay, I see now how I participated in staying blind, how I chose comfort over truth, how I trusted when I should have verified, and I am never doing that again. The Eight of Swords reversed gives you the gift of self-awareness without self-flagellation. It helps you see your own patterns and choices clearly so you can make different choices moving forward, so you can honor red flags immediately, so you can value truth over peace, so you can protect yourself proactively rather than recovering from betrayal reactively. What is also coming through strongly is that this liberation, this removing of the blindfold, it is going to affect every area of your life, not just the situation. Once you start seeing clearly in one area, you start seeing clearly everywhere. You might suddenly realize that there are other relationships where you have been accepting less than you deserve, other situations where you have been operating on false information, other dynamics where you have been giving your power away. The Eight of Swords reversed is like turning on the lights in a dark house and suddenly seeing all the furniture you have been bumping into without realizing it was there. It might be overwhelming at first, but ultimately it is so necessary. I am seeing that in the immediate aftermath of the truth coming out, you might actually feel more trapped initially because now you have to deal with it, now you have to make hard decisions, now you have to face all the implications. But the card is reversed, which means that trapped feeling is temporary and illusory. You are actually more free than you have ever been because you are finally operating from truth. You can only be truly trapped when you do not know the real situation. Once you know, once you see clearly, you have options and power, even if the options are all painful. The Eight of Swords reversed is also giving me specific guidance for you about how to handle the revelation when it comes. First, do not let anyone, including the person who lied to you, try to re-blindfold you with excuses or explanations or sob stories. Once you see the truth, stay in the truth. Do not let them confuse you again with manipulative narratives. Second, trust that cutting yourself free from this situation, as scary as that might feel, is actually the path to your greatest freedom and happiness. Third, use this as an opportunity to examine all the areas of your life where you might be choosing blindness over sight, where you might be staying trapped out of fear of the unknown. Let me pull one more card because I want to see what the ultimate outcome of this situation is for you, what you are moving toward as you step into this clarity and freedom. This is going to show us the light at the end of this very dark tunnel. The fifth card, and I am getting chills, is the Six of Cups. And this is fascinating because the Six of Cups is about nostalgia, innocence, childhood, healing old wounds, and sometimes reunions with people from the past. At first, this might seem random, but let me tell you what Spirit is showing me about why this card appears as your outcome. And it is beautiful and unexpected. The Six of Cups is telling us that after you move through this betrayal, after you process the pain and anger and shock, after you fully liberate yourself from the situation and the person who deceived you, you are going to experience a healing that reconnects you with a version of yourself you might have lost. You know that part of you that used to be more trusting, not in a naive way, but in an open-hearted way? That part of you that could give and love freely without calculating and protecting and second-guessing? That part of you that felt innocent and hopeful about relationships in life? You are getting that back, Taurus, but in a wiser, more discerning form. The Six of Cups often represents healing childhood wounds or old emotional patterns, and I am seeing that this betrayal is actually going to help you heal something much older than this situation. Maybe you have been betrayed before. Maybe you learned early that people lie. Maybe you have been carrying protective walls around your heart for years or decades. And this situation, as painful as it is going to bring all of that to the surface to be finally cleared and healed at the deepest level. You are not just going to recover from this betrayal, you are going to heal all the betrayals, all the times you were lied to, all the times your trust was misused. What is absolutely beautiful about the Six of Cups as an outcome is that it promises joy on the other side of this pain. Not fake happiness, not forced positivity, but genuine, deep soul-level joy that comes from being truly free, truly clear, truly aligned with your authentic self. You are going to reach a place where you look back on this situation and feel nothing but gratitude that the truth came out, that you got free, that you did not waste more years on someone who did not deserve you. The Six of Cups can also indicate reconnecting with someone from your past, and I am seeing two possible meanings here. One is that you might literally reconnect with an old friend or past love, or someone you knew years ago, who reminds you what genuine connection feels like, who treats you with the honesty and respect you deserve, who helps you remember that not everyone lies and deceives. The other meaning is more metaphorical, that you are going to reconnect with your past self, with dreams and desires and parts of your personality that you might have suppressed or lost while dealing with this toxic situation. I am also seeing that the Six of Cups represents forgiveness, but not the kind where you let the person who hurt you back into your life. This is about forgiving yourself for trusting, for not seeing sooner, for any ways you feel you contributed to staying in the dark. This is about releasing any shame or embarrassment about being deceived and recognizing that being a trusting person is not a weakness. It is a strength. And the person who violated that trust is the one who should carry shame, not you. The playful, light energy of the Six of Cups is also showing me that you are going to get your lightness back, Taurus. Right now, you might feel heavy, burdened, like you are carrying the weight of suspicion and doubt and confusion. But on the other side of this revelation and liberation, you are going to feel light again, unburdened, free to laugh and play and enjoy life without this dark, heavy secret energy following you around. You are going to wake up one morning in the not too distant future and realize you feel happy in a way you have not felt in a long time. And it is because you are finally living in truth. Here is what I need you to understand about this entire reading, Taurus. These cards are painting a picture of a difficult but ultimately beautiful transformation. You are moving from darkness and deception into light and clarity, from imprisonment into freedom, from being kept small by lies into stepping into your full power through truth. Yes, the middle part is going to be painful when everything comes crashing down, when the person on their knees begging for silence fails to keep the King of Swords quiet, when the Five of Pentacles reality becomes your reality to deal with. But you are ready for this. You have been preparing for this through all that hermit work you have been doing on yourself. And you are going to come through this stronger, wiser, clearer, and ultimately happier than you have been in years. The universe is protecting you right now, Taurus, by bringing this truth to light. I know it does not feel like protection when you are anxious and sensing something is wrong, but trust me, staying in the dark would be so much worse than moving into the light. The rock bottom this person has hit, the financial disaster they are hiding, the desperate begging they are doing, all of this is going to come out, and when it does, you are going to be grateful it happened sooner rather than later. Grateful that you can now protect yourself. Grateful that you can now make informed choices. Grateful that you are free. Your timeline for all of this is fast. I cannot stress this enough. The King of Swords is reaching their breaking point on keeping this secret. probably within the next few weeks or even days. The energy is building to a crescendo that cannot be contained much longer. You might notice this person who has been hiding everything becoming more anxious, more distant, more erratic in their behavior. They can feel the walls closing in. They can sense that their desperate begging is not working. They know on some level that the truth is about to explode, whether they want it to or not. And here is something critical I need you to understand about how this is going to unfold. When the truth finally comes out, this person is probably going to try to control the narrative. They are going to want to tell you their version first, a sanitized version where they are the victim, where circumstances were beyond their control, where they were protecting you by not telling you, where their intentions were good, even if their actions were terrible. Do not let them get away with this, Taurus. The King of Swords energy tells me that you need to hear the full truth from someone who has no investment in protecting this person's image, someone who will give you facts without emotional manipulation attached to them. Let me pull one more card because I am feeling there is something about the nature of what was lost that we need to understand more clearly. This is important for your preparation. The sixth card coming through is the Three of Swords, and wow, okay? So this confirms that at the center of what this person lost and is desperately hiding from you is heartbreak. Now, the Three of Swords is traditionally about betrayal, grief, painful truth, heartbreak, and I am seeing this could have multiple meanings in your situation. This could be indicating that they betrayed you financially or emotionally or both, and their rock bottom includes the heartbreak of knowing they destroyed something good. Or this could be showing that they themselves were betrayed by someone else, maybe a business partner or friend or family member. And that betrayal led to the Five of Pentacles financial disaster, but they have been too ashamed or proud to tell you they were played or scammed or taken advantage of. Either way, the Three of Swords is showing us that there is deep emotional pain at the core of the situation, not just practical or financial consequences. This person is not just broke, they are broken. They are not just in financial ruin, they are in emotional and spiritual ruin. The begging, the pleading, the desperation, it all makes even more sense now because they are operating from a place of profound pain and fear, and people in that state make terrible decisions. They lie when they should tell truth. They hide when they should seek help. They manipulate when they should be vulnerable. The Three of Swords is also warning you about something really important. When this truth comes out, when you see the full extent of what has been hidden, it is going to hurt. Not just anger, not just shock, but real deep heartbreak. You are going to have to grieve not just what is ending, but what you thought you had that turned out to be an illusion. You are going to have to grieve the person you thought they were, the future you thought you were building, the trust you thought was solid. This is real grief, Taurus, and you need to let yourself feel it fully rather than trying to skip past it to the anger or the liberation. But here is what the Three of Swords teaches us that is so valuable. Pain that is felt can be healed. Pain that is acknowledged can be released. Pain that is witnessed and honored and allowed to move through us does not get stuck and become bitterness or cynicism or permanent walls around the heart. So when the heartbreak hits, and it will hit, let it hit. Cry the tears, scream into pillows, talk to friends who will hold space for your pain, write angry letters you never send. Do whatever you need to do to process this rather than suppress it. The Three of Swords in the position of revealing what was lost also tells me that this person knows they broke your heart or are about to break your heart. And that knowledge is part of their rock bottom. If they have any conscience left at all, and I think they do, even though they have made terrible choices, they are carrying the weight of knowing that when you find out the truth, it is going to devastate you. And they are not wrong about that. It is going to devastate you initially. But what they do not understand is that you are stronger than they think, that you are going to survive this and thrive beyond it, that the temporary devastation is going to lead to permanent liberation. I am also seeing with the Three of Swords that there might be a third person involved in some way beyond just the King of Swords who knows the secret. The Three of Swords sometimes indicates a triangle, a third party who has played a role in the situation. This could be someone they owe money to, someone they had an affair with if this is romantic, someone they went into business with who screwed them over, someone whose involvement is part of what they are desperately trying to keep from you. The complexity keeps growing, Taurus. There are layers to this situation that are going to unfold like a horrible onion, and each layer is going to reveal more deception, more poor choices, more things that were kept from you. But you know what? As painful as that sounds, it is actually better to know everything all at once rather than having truths trickle out over months or years. The Three of Swords energy, as brutal as it is actually doing you a favor by exposing the full extent of the situation quickly. Like ripping off a Band-Aid versus peeling it back slowly, the sharp, sudden pain is actually more merciful than prolonged suffering. Now let me talk about something really important regarding your energy and your preparation for what is coming. I have been focusing a lot on what they did, what they lost, what they are hiding. But we need to talk about what you need to do right now to protect yourself and prepare for the incoming storm. First, and this is critical, if you share any finances with this person, start documenting everything. Check accounts, look at statements, understand where you stand financially independent of whatever they might be hiding. Do not wait for the confession. Do not give them the heads up that you are checking. Just quietly secure your own financial knowledge and safety. Second, strengthen your support system now. Reach out to friends or family members you trust, people who have your back, people who will help you process this when it all comes out. You do not have to tell them specifics yet if you are not ready, but make sure you have people locked in who will be there for you during the difficult period ahead. The Eight of Swords reversed is about cutting free from isolation, which means you need to make sure you are not isolated when the truth drops. Third, start getting very honest with yourself about what you have been avoiding seeing. Journal about the red flags you have noticed, the moments things felt off, the explanations that never quite made sense. The more you can prepare yourself mentally and emotionally by acknowledging what you already sense on some level, the less shocking the full revelation will be. You have been doing hermit work already. Now deepen that work. Shine your inner light into the corners you have been afraid to look at. Fourth, and this might sound strange, but trust me on this. Start imagining yourself free from this situation. Visualize yourself on the other side of this revelation, living in truth, making choices from clarity, no longer carrying the burden of someone else's lies and disasters. The Six of Cups outcome is real. That joy and lightness and healing are real and waiting for you. But you can start moving toward it energetically right now, by holding that vision of your liberated future self. I also want to talk about something that might come up for you, which is the temptation to confront this person directly, to demand the truth before the King of Swords, or the universe forces it out. And here is my guidance on that. If you feel strong enough, if you feel ready, if your intuition is screaming at you to ask direct questions, then yes, confront them. But only if you are prepared for more lies, more gaslighting, more manipulation, because someone who has been hiding something this big for this long is not suddenly going to become honest just because you ask. They are going to deny, deflect, maybe even turn it around and make you feel crazy for suspecting anything. So if you do confront them, go in with your eyes wide open, expect lies, do not show all your cards, and watch their energy more than their words. A guilty person has specific tells. They get defensive super fast. They attack you for not trusting them. They give answers that are technically true, but leave out crucial information. They change the subject. They make promises to prove themselves that are vague and unactionable. An innocent person who has nothing to hide will be concerned about why you are worried, will offer to show you whatever you need to see to feel reassured, will stay calm and open rather than aggressive and closed off. But honestly, Taurus, based on the energy of these cards, I think the truth is going to come out before you even have to confront anything. The timeline is so close, the pressure is so high, the King of Swords is so close to their breaking point. You might wake up one day very soon to a message or a phone call or a conversation that changes everything, and in some ways, that is better than you having to drag the truth out piece by piece through confrontation. Let the universe handle the revelation while you focus on staying strong and prepared for the aftermath. Now, I want to address something that might be happening in your energy field right now, which is anxiety. You might be feeling anxious reading this, anxious about what is coming, anxious about the unknown, anxious about the pain you are going to have to feel. And that anxiety is valid and understandable. But I also want to reframe it for you. That anxiety you are feeling, that is not weakness, that is your system preparing you. That is your mind and body and soul getting ready for a major transition. Athletes feel anxiety before big competitions. Performers feel anxiety before going on stage. Soldiers feel anxiety before battle. That anxiety is activating your resources, sharpening your focus, mobilizing your strength. So instead of trying to make the anxiety go away, which you probably cannot do anyway, work with it. Let it sharpen your awareness. Let it motivate you to prepare and protect yourself. Let it remind you that something significant is happening and you need to be ready. The worst thing you could do right now is be in denial, pretending everything is fine, ignoring your intuition, staying comfortably numb. The anxiety is actually serving you by keeping you alert and aware. Let me also talk about the after, about what life looks like once you are through this difficult transition. The Six of Cups promises healing and joy, but it does not promise that everything will be easy immediately. There is going to be a period of adjustment, a period of rebuilding your sense of trust in yourself and others, a period of figuring out who you are outside of this situation that has probably been consuming a lot of your energy and attention. You might feel lost for a while, like you do not even know what to do with yourself without the constant background stress of sensing something is wrong. That lost feeling is temporary and actually kind of beautiful if you can embrace it. It is the feeling of possibility, of your life being a blank canvas again, of not knowing what comes next, because you finally have the freedom to choose without being constrained by someone else's lies and limitations. The Six of Cups is inviting you to reconnect with old dreams, old passions, old versions of yourself that you might have abandoned or suppressed. What did you love doing before this situation consumed so much of your mental and emotional energy? What dreams did you have that got put on hold? What parts of yourself did you dim down to accommodate someone who did not deserve that accommodation? This is your opportunity, Taurus, to reclaim all of that, to remember who you were before betrayal taught you to be guarded, before lies taught you to second-guess everything, before deception taught you that you could not trust your own perceptions. The healed version of you that the Six of Cups represents is not someone who is naive or easily fooled again. You have learned too much for that. But it is someone who can be open-hearted and trusting with discernment. Someone who gives freely to people who have earned that gift. Someone who protects their energy and their heart fiercely while still remaining capable of deep, authentic connection. Now, I am getting a really strong message from Spirit about forgiveness, and I need to address this because it is going to come up for you at some point. People are going to tell you that you need to forgive this person who betrayed you, that holding on to anger and resentment will only hurt you, that forgiveness is for your own peace, not for them. And all of that is true to an extent, but I want to be really clear about something. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness does not mean letting them back into your life. Forgiveness does not mean pretending what they did was okay, or understandable or forgivable in the sense of erasing consequences. Real forgiveness is about releasing the charge, releasing the power this situation has over your emotional state, releasing the bitterness that can poison your future relationships and your own happiness. But you can release all of that while still maintaining firm boundaries, while still choosing to cut this person completely out of your life, while still holding them accountable for the harm they caused. Do not let anyone pressure you into premature forgiveness. Do not let anyone make you feel like you are being bitter or vindictive for protecting yourself and maintaining distance from someone who proved themselves untrustworthy. The timeline for forgiveness is yours to determine. It might happen in months or years or never, and all of those options are valid. What matters is that you do not let unforgiveness become a prison, that you do not give this person and this situation so much power that they continue to control your emotional state and your choices long after they are out of your life. That is what real forgiveness work looks like. Not some forced premature declaration that you are fine and you forgive them when you are still processing the pain. I am also seeing something about boundaries that is really important for you moving forward. One of the gifts of the Eight of Swords reversed, and this whole painful revelation, is that you are going to get crystal clear on your boundaries and deal breakers in a way you maybe were not before. You are going to know without question that dishonesty is a deal breaker, that financial deception is a deal breaker, that someone begging others to keep secrets from you is a deal breaker. You are going to be able to spot red flags immediately in the future because this experience is giving you a PhD in recognizing deception. And here is what is powerful about that. Clear boundaries do not make you closed or hard. They make you safe. They make it possible for you to be open and generous and loving with the right people because you are no longer wasting that energy on people who do not value it or respect it. Your boundaries become a filter that keeps toxic energy out while letting genuine connection in. You become someone who is easy to be in relationship with if you are honest and have integrity, but impossible to manipulate or deceive. That is the version of you that is emerging from this fire. Let me pull one final card because I want to see what advice Spirit has for you specifically about how to navigate the immediate future, the period between now and when the truth fully emerges. This is going to give us practical guidance for the coming days and weeks. The seventh and final card is the Queen of Wands and oh my God, Taurus. This is perfect. This is exactly the energy you need to embody right now. The Queen of Wands is confident, powerful, charismatic, independent, fiercely protective of herself and her kingdom. She does not tolerate lies or manipulation. She trusts her instincts completely. She is warm and generous with people who deserve it, but she will cut you off without hesitation if you betray her trust. She is the queen of knowing her worth and refusing to settle for less than she deserves. This card is telling you that you need to step into Queen of Wands energy. Right now, not after the revelation, not after you have processed everything, but now. You need to carry yourself with the confidence and self-assurance of someone who knows they are valuable, who knows they deserve honesty and respect, who knows they will be fine no matter what truth comes out because they are resourceful and strong and surrounded by people who genuinely love them. The Queen of Wands does not wait for permission to protect herself. She does not second-guess her intuition. She does not make herself small to accommodate other people's comfort. Here is what embodying Queen of Wands energy looks like practically. You walk into every interaction with this person with your head high. You do not act suspicious or anxious, even though you know something is wrong. You simply observe with sharp awareness. You take care of yourself. First, your financial security, your emotional well-being, your support system. You do not confront unless you are ready, but you also do not pretend everything is fine. You exist in this powerful space of, I know something is off, I am prepared for whatever is coming, and I am going to be fine regardless. The Queen of Wands is also telling you to trust your power. You have so much more power in this situation than you might realize, Taurus. You have the power to walk away, the power to protect your resources, the power to decide what you will and will not tolerate, the power to build a beautiful life without this person in it. They are on their knees, begging for silence, because they know that if you find out the truth, you have the power to end everything, and they are terrified of your power. That fear they have of you finding out, that is actually respect for your power, even if it is twisted up with their desperation. The Queen of Wands is also fiery and passionate, which means when the truth comes out, you will feel intense emotions, you will feel rage and hurt and betrayal, and that is good. Do not suppress that fire. Let it burn through the illusions. Let it fuel your liberation. Let it remind you of your aliveness and your refusal to be disrespected. The Queen of Wands does not do quiet suffering. She expresses. She feels. She moves that energy through her system, and then she takes decisive action from a place of clarity and power. I am also seeing that the Queen of Wands represents your independence, and this is crucial. Whatever you have been depending on this person for, whether it is financial support or emotional validation or partnership in building a life, you need to start seeing yourself as complete without them. You are not half of something that needs them to be whole. You are a whole person, a queen in your own right, who can absolutely thrive on your own. Yes, partnership can be beautiful when it is with the right person, but this clearly is not that person, and you do not need them as much as they need you. The advice of the Queen of Wands for the immediate future is this: prepare quietly. Do not show your hand. Do not let them know you are getting ready for the truth to come out. Just quietly strengthen your position. Get your finances in order. Shore up your support system. Do the internal work of connecting with your power and your worth, and wait with the patient confidence of a queen who knows that truth always emerges eventually. You do not have to force anything. You do not have to chase down the truth. You simply need to be ready when it arrives. And when the truth does come out, the Queen of Wands advises swift, decisive action. No wavering, no second guessing, no letting them talk you into giving them another chance. You assess the situation clearly, you make your decision based on your boundaries and values, and you act on that decision without apology. The Queen of Wands does not agonize over choices. She knows what she knows, and she moves forward with confidence. Here is what I need you to understand about all of these cards together, Taurus. You have the Hermit, showing truth hidden in darkness, about to be illuminated. The King of Swords, showing the person who knows the truth and is struggling with whether to tell you. The Five of Pentacles, showing complete financial and material devastation that has been hidden from you. The Eight of Swords reversed, showing your liberation from illusion and deception. The Three of Swords, showing the heartbreak at the center of all of this. The Six of Cups, showing the healing and joy waiting for you on the other side. And the Queen of Wands, showing the powerful, confident energy you need to embody to navigate all of this successfully. This is a complete story, a full arc from darkness to light, from deception to truth, from imprisonment to freedom, from heartbreak to healing. Yes, the middle part is going to be difficult, but you can see from these cards that there is an other side. There is a positive outcome. There is liberation and healing waiting for you. You are not going into this blind. You have been warned and prepared by your intuition and by this reading, and that gives you such an advantage. The person begging on their knees, the person who has hit rock bottom and lost everything, they made their choices and now they are experiencing the consequences. That is not your responsibility to fix. That is not your burden to carry. That is their lesson to learn. Your job is to protect yourself, to honor your truth, to step into your power as the Queen of Wands, and to move through this difficult period with as much grace and strength as you can muster, knowing that the Six of Cups joy and healing is real and waiting for you. The timeline is fast, Taurus. You are not going to be in suspense much longer. The King of Swords is reaching breaking point. The lies are becoming impossible to maintain. The energy is building to an explosion that cannot be contained. When it happens, remember this reading. Remember that you were warned. Remember that you are strong enough to handle this. Remember that liberation and healing are on the other side. Trust your intuition, because it has been right all along. Trust your worth, because you deserve so much better than lies and deception. And trust that the universe is actually protecting you by bringing this truth to light before you waste any more of your precious time and energy on someone who has proven themselves unworthy of you. You are going to be okay, Taurus, more than okay. You are going to be free and powerful and clear and eventually joyful in a way you have not been in a long time. This painful revelation is actually a gift, even though it does not feel like one right now. A gift of truth, a gift of clarity, a gift of liberation from a situation that was never serving your highest good. Embrace your inner Queen of Wands. Trust the Hermit's light to guide you through the darkness. Allow the Eight of Swords to fall away and free you, and know that the Six of Cups healing is absolutely coming for you. You have got this. You are ready for this, and you are going to come through this stronger and wiser than ever before.